Well, looks like we've got most people here, so we'll probably start with introduction. I'm hoping you can see myself and possibly my screen share of that. So I'll introduce myself. My name's Stephen. I'm a software engineer at Redgate. And this here?
I'm Olivia.
And you'll be our helper today, won't you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
If you want to say that.
We also have Jordan in the background who will be helping out for people who get stuck. And hopefully Praveen will be joining us shortly. So yeah, today we'll be doing Python for beginners and we'll be doing the rock, paper, scissors. And I do apologize for any technical issues. Oh, speaking of. You working? So yeah, if you'd like to introduce yourself, Praveen. You're currently muted.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Praveen. I'm a software engineer at Redgate, and today I'll be supporting Stephen with his coding club.
Cool. Did you want to introduce yourself, Jordan?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Jordan. I also work for Redgate, and I'm actually in sales. So I'm here to support both Praveen and Stephen today.
Cool. Right. Yeah, you can click next if you want. So yeah, so this is a coding club that we're sort of doing from Redgate and is in collaboration with Code Club. So we thank them for their help and all that sort of stuff. And you can visit their website and for local clubs once lockdown ends at codeclub.org.
And
Right, you skipped.
sorry.
Too soon.
That.
Nope, nope, not that button.
Sorry.
It's all right. As you can tell, technical fun. Right, let's get out of that. And you've cool. Let's make life a little bit easier for ourselves. Right. Cool. So hopefully you can all see my screen, and we'll be doing the raspberrypi.org website. We're going to be using rock, paper, scissors, which, if I've done this right, hopefully you'll be able to see a link for in the chat in a second. This is also in the email, so if you've already got the page open, then great. If not, there's a link there for everyone to go visit. Yeah, you won't need to install anything for this. It'll literally be just a case of using this stuff online, but if you do want to further play with Python and other bits, there are ways of installing it, and the Raspberry Pi website's got some good walkthroughs for stuff like that. So hopefully that's given everyone enough time. Right, so Olivia here has never done Python before, apart from maybe about half an hour ago when she was having a quick play. So she's learning as well. So we're going to be doing this rock, paper, scissors. So it's the old classic: rock blunts scissors, paper covers rock, and scissors cuts paper.
Really? Oh, never thought of that.
So as you can hopefully see on my screen here, we've got basically the finished result. So Olivia, if you'd like to choose what you want to be, if you're rock, paper, or scissors.
Okay. I'm going to choose rock.
Yep.
Enter. And
so using the power of ASCII art, we've got circle for rock versus some dashes for paper. And unfortunately, the paper, you've lost the computer today.
Yep.
But this is what we'll be sort of building to as we go along.
then you
Yep.
click
Yeah, well.
SP.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. SP.
Yeah, computer wins again. Bad luck. Right. So if we scroll down to the thing, we can start building. So if we hit player's turn, and this is probably the most important link here, is this trinket. If you open that, it should open a lovely little window like this.
Ta-da!
And this is where we'll be typing in our Python code as we're going along. Oh, before I do forget, and I have actually forgotten, if at any point you get stuck, what you can do is you can raise your hand. And to do that in Zoom, hopefully you can see a little control with a raise hand picture. If you click on that, it will then go green to say that your hand is raised, and one of us will hopefully be able to support you. Yep, 2 of you have already managed to raise your hands, so thank you. That definitely works. And yeah, if you then manage to get unstuck, or we've solved your question, if you can then just lower your hand afterwards, that'd be brilliant, because that way we can sort of make sure we get to people if they need help. Because I think there's about 40 of you in this, so.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, we'll try and do our best. If you're using the web client, again, it's a very similar sort of thing. It's a little hand icon. So, and the fact that some of you raised your hand definitely means we've got that working.
But we can't raise our hands.
Well, we don't need to raise our hands. We're doing the. Otherwise, we've got trouble. Cool. So, if you've got 2 screens and you can follow along quickly and greatly, then brilliant. If not, we're going to take our time because obviously not everyone has 2 screens.
We've got 3.
But we're not using that one. This is my work one. Right.
Working.
Crazy. So, for doing this rock, paper, scissors, what we need to do is do some random number generation. So, because we don't want to play the game and end up having it always being rock, always be paper, always be scissors, for example. We want it to be a bit random, that, you know, like when you're playing a real game between you and someone else. So for this, thankfully, someone's asking about getting the code there. You can view that on that link I sent originally. Might need to reshare if someone could do that for me, please. So basically, what we're going to use is a function that's a module that's already built that produces random numbers. So we're just going to do the nice, easy stuff, hopefully. So Olivia, would you like to start coding?
Okay, so.
Cool. So for starters, we need to find out what you're going to choose if it's going to be rock, paper, scissors, don't we? So that's called.
Player.
Well, yeah, it's a variable, but what would you put? It's input, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we create a variable
Named
called
player.
player? Yep. It's like you know what we're going to do.
It comes to right in front of me.
So we're going to create a little variable called player, and this is going to store the value of what the player chooses.
Then.
So to do that, we're going to put something in there. So we're going to assign a value, aren't we?
Yep.
So what do we use?
Equal.
Brilliant. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's how you do it.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now we need some input from the user. So how do we get some input from someone?
Right input.
Yep. Perfect.
Like it's right in front of me.
Yep.
And P. Oh, P.
Yep.
T. U T.
Right. So that's asking. We're going to ask for input from the person. But when we ask for input, we need to tell someone what we're asking for, don't we?
Yep.
Yep.
So.
So shall we put in the question, which in this case will be, are you going to do rock, paper, or scissors, isn't it?
Yeah, and we'll have to do it in brackets.
Yep. Oh, good point. Yes, we need to open up some brackets to do that. So if you open brackets, and then because this is something shown on screen, we need a quote, don't we?
I think it's this one.
That's right. Perfect.
Good. I've learnt that from before.
Right. So we want to say rock R, paper P, or scissors S, don't we?
So I want to type rock.
Yep.
Rock. Then I don't know how it's done on this.
So for doing brackets, it's Shift 9.
Like I did before.
Yeah, like before.
So shift.
R for rock.
Then.
Shift 0 from close brackets.
Huh?
Shift 0 from close bracket.
How?
Shift
Can you do it?
and 0. There you go. Shall I type this bit?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Rock.
It's so slow. On
That's right. This is all learning.
Wait, how's the other one put in brackets then? If the other ones aren't put in brackets? Oh, because it's.
This is what we're going to show on screen, so you can put different symbols in there. So we're just saying, for example, if you want rock, it's going to be R. If it's paper, P. Scissors, S.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be a long game if you type rock every time, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. So now we've got some input.
This is a long one.
So now we've got some input. We want to sort of show that to you what you've chosen. Shall we do that?
What?
Should we show what you've chosen on screen? So if you choose rock, we want to show back that you've chosen rock. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to print that to screen. So we use the word print.
Needs more space.
Oh, sorry.
Print.
Yep. And then open brackets because this is what we want to print. And for this, we're going to print out the variable, aren't we? Okay. So people asked us to slow down a little bit.
Sorry.
That's
It's just this. I typed it so fast.
We have a very eager coder here.
I can't, I really want to do it.
Yeah. So what we need to do is after we've typed player, should we then do what we'll do is we want to show on screen a bit more text. So like the verses. So we had before. Remember we saw at the beginning. You saw the.
Oh yeah, the verses.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
So you comma,
Comma.
and then we want to start a single quote, and then VS. So that's this text we're going to show on screen.
Okay, so. VS.
Cool. And that is a good point for us to all stop and catch up. Let people catch up. If you hit run, hopefully you should be able to see this working. So if you then type in one of your chosen letters and hit enter, hey, it works.
And if that doesn't happen, then.
Then you've probably got a bug.
Yep. And you have to debug it with bug spray.
Wouldn't use bug spray on this computer. Might just slightly break it. And then no one will be able to see what we're doing. Oh, yeah, don't kick that computer. If you hit the power button, we'll go off, and no one will be able to see us anymore.
Have you heard the race of the lettuce and the tomato? The lettuce was in front and the tomato was behind. I really think the tomato should catch up.
And I will warn you now, you're probably going to get a lot more of those jokes. She has been practicing. Right. So hopefully you're all at that stage. If not, hopefully we can help you out.
Raise your hand.
And yeah, raise your hand if you need help.
What about 2 hands?
I don't think they've got 2-hand button. And does that mean you need help or that you're sort of cheering?
Yeah. Have you heard of the robber? He stole a calendar and he got 3 days.
Cool. So what we want to do next is obviously a game of rock, paper, scissors. A bit boring if it's just you, isn't it?
Oh, I won.
So what we need is the computer to play, don't we?
Yep.
So at this point, this is where our random number stuff will be very useful. So shall we create a computer player?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we want to create a new variable for the computer's choice of thing, don't we?
Okay, so we.
Yep.
It's gonna be called. What is it gonna be
Well,
called?
should we call it chosen? Because that's what's in the guide. That's not confusing. Yeah. Although if you want to remix at the end, I'm sure you can play around with that.
No, I did that wrong.
No, you did it again.
Aww.
Ian. That's it. Perfect.
Yay!
So again, we're creating a variable, and this one is going to store a random number. So what type of variable do you think this is?
What do you mean?
Well, remember the different types that you told me before earlier?
Oh, the flow.
Yeah.
There's gonna be string.
Nope, string is for text. That's what the first one is.
Okay.
Integer.
Integer.
That's integer, yeah. That's
I can't pronounce it.
You'll get there, don't worry. So this is gonna be an integer, isn't it?
Integer.
Right. So we're gonna put this value in there.
Integer.
Some people have already commented that your jokes are great, so you've definitely got some fans out in the audience.
Yay!
So shall we store a value in there? Right, so we want a random number. So
A random. Yeah, I can't.
okay, so let's get a random number. So we do that, we use this function called randint.
Which int is for integer.
Yep.
Oh my god!
So rand is short for random and int is short for integer, yes. And this is what we've asked for at the start with that from random import randint thing.
Where?
So the line at the top on line 3, it says from random import randint. This is where this is coming from. So we didn't have to write the random number making, we just get to use it. Seems like your car. You buy a car, you don't have to go build a car to go driving, do you?
No.
Yeah, that's the same function.
Randider.
Give up for now. Right, so we want a random number between 1 and 3, because if you think about rock, paper, scissors, you've only got 3 options, haven't you? So to do that, we want to open the brackets.
Bracket is opening.
Yep. And the lowest number we want is 1, so do 1.
1.
And then we want to do a comma, and we'll say 3, because then we get a random number between 1 and 3.
And also rock, paper, scissors. There's 3.
Perfect, yep.
3.
So for now, we want to test we've actually got this working, don't we? So should we just print out what the random number is on screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you think we go about doing that?
Oh, print chosen.
Yes, that's right.
Oh wait, does that need to be on the same line?
Doesn't matter. No, different lines. What we want. You can have extra lines in between. Don't worry. Yep. And then.
Open brackets.
Yep. Perfect.
Then chosen.
Yep, that's right.
Now it's S.
Yep.
And E.
No.
Oh.
If anything, by the end of this, you'll know how to spell chosen, right? You'll just be sleep typing it. Oh, do it again. E-N. E-N. Cool.
Yay!
Brilliant. Right, so now if we run this, we should hopefully see what you've just done. Cool, so rock, paper, scissors, what are you going to go for?
Finally, I'm going to go for scissors.
Cool. So, it's S versus 1. Not a very good game though, is it, at this point?
1.
Yeah, what's 1? Exactly. So, for this example, the suggestion is that 1 is rock, 2 is paper, and 3 is scissors.
Let me slow down a bit.
Oh, apparently you've been asked for more jokes as well.
Oh, I've got one. Imagine two twins having a fight. I would make a joke, but I can't think of the punchline. Get it?
Be careful what you ask for. So, if 1 is rock, 2 is paper, 3 is scissors, it's a bit rubbish if we have to go S versus 1, oh, versus rock, isn't it?
Well, some people can't even see this.
Well,
so,
yeah, they're not.
What is it?
Exactly. So, shall we make it so that the screen, our code, tells us what 1 is, or 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what we can do is we can use an if statement.
And it's an if-thens.
Yes, there'll be some of them as sure. So, if is a way of us checking if something matches something else.
If.
It's a logic thing, isn't it?
Oh, it's...
Yeah, so we checking if something's true or false, aren't we?
How I remember it is a bean.
A bean.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember Boolean as bean.
Oh, right, I get you now.
Because I don't know why, but I remember it like that.
Oh, people are saying you're hilarious as well, so you're definitely a winner out there.
Yay!
So, shall we put an if statement in, yeah?
Yeah.
So, if,
What does it say? Where is it?
it's this bit here now. But yeah,
Okay. So
so type in if, if. Yeah, brilliant.
yay.
So we want to check what the chosen value is, don't we? So we want to say if chosen. Yeah.
Huh?
We want.
Oh,
So we're
if
saying
chosen,
yeah,
right.
yeah. So we're saying if chosen chooses 1, for example, we want to say it's a rock.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I did it. First try. Yay!
Perfect.
Finally.
All right. So we want to then check if chosen equals 1, don't we?
One thing.
Mhm.
What does the purple mean? What do the blues and what do the reds?
Good question. Right. So purple, on the case of input, is it's some input stuff that's going to be information you're getting in. The pink is some keywords or functions, I believe. So you've got print, so showing something. If, doing some logic. From an import is bringing something into your code to use. And the dark blue there is basically it's a number, it's an integer.
I think you blew the surprise.
Oh, dear. Right, so we're getting a bit distracted here, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
So we want to check if chosen is the value of 1. So we want to do a check.
I can't see it.
That's why I just click that close button there. I'll get rid of that. No, not that one. That one. Yep. Perfect. Right.
Yay.
Cool. So if on there, we want to check if chosen is equal to 1. So to do that,
Now this is a bit weird. Isn't it time for 2 equals?
it is time for 2 equals. That's right.
So instead of 1 equal, it's 2.
Yep. And do you know why it's 2 instead of 1?
I don't know.
Okay. So 1 equals means we're assigning a value somewhere. So like, see where it's got player equals import, right? We're going to say to put that value inside player because it's a variable. But if you want to check something is equal to something, you need to have 2 equals, or the same as. So we want to say if chosen is the same as 1. And when in Python, when you do an if statement,
Mm.
oh, close. That's it. So shift that button, yeah, and you get a colon.
Should we take stop for a second?
Well, I don't know how people are doing at the moment. I'm guessing no one seems to be saying we're going too fast at the moment, so I think we're all okay.
I've got a joke.
Oh dear.
Why did the kids eat their homework? Because their teacher told them it would be a piece of cake. Oh.
Okay, right. So what we want to do now, if I scroll that down a bit for you. So we want to say if it's equal to 1, we want to do something, don't we?
So this time we don't have to put 2. We just put 1 line. No.
Yeah, just 1 line.
Yeah.
How many lines you put in there is just more for making it easier to read or not.
Ta-da!
Right, so we're going to say this is what the computer's chosen, don't we? We want to show it.
But if it always chooses paper, what?
Thinking idiots out there.
I
So
know,
for the moment, we want to say what 1 is, don't we?
I know.
So should we create a new variable to store that in?
I'm confused.
You're confused.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
What?
Okay, so we want to say at the moment, if the computer's chosen 1, that it's a rock. So should we create a new variable called computer? Oh, sorry, yes, I forgot. This is where you get me to type, isn't it?
Yes,
So-
because I'll take too long.
Okay, so we'll say in this case, if it's chosen is 1, the computer is a rock. Not literally a rock. I mean, you can't do much. You can't do much programming on a rock.
It's literally a rock.
It's literally a rock, yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so right. So then what? What about 2? Should we do something about 2?
2 could be paper.
Right, but we need to code that in, don't we?
I know.
Right. So do you want to hit enter? Right.
Ta-da!
Now, if you're using Trinket like we are, it very kindly puts an indent in, so a couple of spaces at the start of the line. What you need to do is remove them, so you're back at the start of the line, because this is now logic for a new question, effectively. Yeah? Because we learned that the hard way, didn't we?
Oh yeah, right. The horrors!
Okay, so if you now we want to do an else if. So we're going to say, if it's 1, do this. Else if it's 2, do something else.
Else.
Else if.
Else.
So in this case, in Python, it's ELIF.
So
E?
Oh. E
L
L
IF.
I F.
Yep, perfect. So we now want to check its value is 2. So how do we do that?
Chosen, right? No.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, it's chosen for the computer and player for the human.
Well, chosen is the random number, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Player is your input, and
Mhm.
computer is what we're going to turn it into when we show it on screen.
Ah.
So chosen's a variable we're kind of making use of in the background, but ultimately it's going to be hidden from people seeing it on screen in the end.
Dun dun dun.
Yep.
It didn't exist.
So we want to check chosen equals 2. So what do we need to do again?
2 equals.
2 equals.
Because equal equals an equal.
Yep. So cool. Brilliant. Okay. So now that we've got chosen check it's 2, what do we want to do? What do you think?
Go down.
Yeah.
This time I'll type it.
Oh, you type it in somewhere? Or am I?
Then we write computer.
Yep.
Computer.
Can tell you've been playing Lego City. The super computer. Then T.
T.
Yeah. Right. And so for this one here,
It's
well, it's going to be paper, isn't it? Yep. So can you do that one for me? So remember how to do that?
equal.
Yep.
Wait.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Hang on.
That one. Yep. Perfect. And P for paper.
PP. PP.
Oh. That's not going to work though, is it?
No, because I need to do this.
Yep.
And then this.
Perfect, because it's a string.
Hey, I was meant to say that. what are you doing?
Just quickly seeing what someone's asking. Should there be a space after the double equals in line 15? It's not required, but for the sake of being nice and easy, there can be.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I want it nice and tidy, basically. No.
Okay, so, right. So we've got 1 for rock, 2 for paper. And we next need something for scissors, don't we?
Okay, so for scissors,
Yeah.
isn't it going to be the same, but just
Well, you could do another else if, but there's another one you can use. Can you remember
where
what
are
it is?
we up to? Okay, we're gonna use L.
Yeah,
else. Yeah.
So why would we use else?
Because no, I don't know, but if it hasn't chosen paper, it chooses scissors, right?
Yeah, so the idea is we're asking if it's chosen number 1,
Oh,
else if it's chosen
I
2,
get it.
otherwise.
So if it's chosen 1,
Yeah.
then it chooses rock. Else if it chooses 2, then it has paper.
Mm-hmm.
Then else if it hasn't chosen any of those, it would be S, which is for scissors.
Correct.
C S C I S S O R S.
Oh, right, you're spelling scissors. I wonder what the heck you were doing then. Cool. Right, so we'll tell you what, if we do this next line, and then I think we've got a few people who might be having a bit of trouble, so we might have to just go over some bits that people may not understand. So we do a new line. Right, but the important part... Sorry, all right, I'll take it back. There, let you do the new line. Right, and from what we learned earlier? Nope, too far. Right,
1.
yeah, so you need to make sure you remove that space at the start.
Because when we were near the end of it, when we were testing it, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Make sure you have that space.
No, remove that space.
Oh, remove that space.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say, you're pointing at the camera. If you point over there, they can't see your finger pointing.
Oh.
Okay, so should we put an else in there, yeah?
Ow.
You right?
Yeah. My little doggy paw hurts.
So should we put an else in there? So E-L-S-E.
What?
E-L-S-E.
E-L-S-E.
S-E. Okay, so someone's asked what space. So for example here on line 16, when we hit enter, you'll see that the little cursor there is currently pushed in a bit, an indent. There's a couple of spaces that you can see highlighted there. So if you've got one of them, you just need to remove it, because otherwise it will cause you a little bit of problems further down potentially. So with the else, right, what do we need to do now?
Also?
No. Right, so hit enter again.
Huh?
No. Oh yeah, no, sorry, excuse me. I was wrong this time.
Yeah.
Yep. Right, so yeah, so after the else, we need to put in a colon.
A little dotty smiley thingy.
Yeah. Colon, yes. Okay, so if you then hit enter. Cool. And then we want to say the computer is S. Should I type computer this time?
No.
No? Okay, fair enough, you do it.
So C-O-M.
Yep.
No, I don't know the other rest of it.
Well,
But
P,
it's up there.
yeah. You've literally typed it already.
P
U.
U E E R.
Yep.
Yay!
And in this case, we want it to be scissors, don't we? Yep.
I can't chop your nose off. That's no fun.
Mhm.
Stop saying yeah.
All right, now then.
Oh, what?
I don't want to, cutting my nose off is not fun. That would hurt. Yeah.
Oh. Wait, what do I need to write?
S for scissors. Yep. Brilliant. Okay. So now, right. So line.
Hey, I'm in
I'm sorry.
charge.
It's just someone's asking. So line 15 is this, and I should send that to. Okay. Because people were having trouble with line 15, so.
Line 15.
The Elsif.
Oh, Elsa.
Elif.
Elif.
Must be a new character from Frozen. Elif.
No.
Sister to Elsa. Okay, so at the moment there, what should we do next? We've gone to all this trouble to make a new computer character that's choosing R, P, or S.
Yeah.
Would we possibly want to see it?
Mhm. Now, which one do you want me to choose? That
That's up to you. You choose. Choose paper.
need.
All right, I'll choose paper then. Okay, so at the moment, all that code we've written isn't actually being shown or anything.
What? Why is that happening? That?
Well, because at the moment we've created this new variable called computer, but we're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
So there's a little computer variable sitting out there, all alone, not being used. So should we show that on screen? So that way we can see what the computer's chosen, so that we can see that 3 is, in this case, scissors. Okay.
And there's one question I want to ask.
Yeah.
How does the computer choose 1, 2, or 3?
Well, that's what the randint function does. So we tell it that we want a random number, and in this case, between 1 and 3. So it randomly, using some, who knows, mystic magic behind the scenes that we're not too worried about in this case, comes up with a number and then gives that back to us.
Like behind the scenes?
Yeah, behind the scenes. It's like if you ask, the Google Home or Alexa and say, give me a random number, and it just comes up with a random number.
So basically, it's like if you're watching a TV show, behind the scenes, it's doing all of that.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Like Friends, for example. If anybody knows what Friends is. Because here is my friend.
Okay. Right, come on, let's get some more coding going.
Alright, so what do we need to do next?
That's a good question there that someone's asked, saying if we're using randint, why do we need random? So that line 3, the from random import randint, is basically a library of code that we're pulling in its power. So a lot of programming can be a case of you pulling in someone else's work and then building on top of it. Hopefully that explains it. If not, I do apologize.
Because he is too technical
Okay.
explaining person.
Okay. Right, let's get some coding going, because otherwise we're going to run out of time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
No, that's the important thing. We don't run out of time on people. Right, so so at this point, we've gone to the trouble of getting some letters.
Which you've already said.
Yep, okay. So we don't really want to be showing number 3 on screen anymore, do we? Or any other number. So what we can do is we can either delete that line 11, or we can turn it to a comment.
What should we do then?
Should we turn it to a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go out to line.
Because then if we delete it, then poor line.
Okay.
So print chosen here.
Yep. So line 11 at the very beginning.
Not at the very beginning.
Oh no, at the very beginning of line 11. I mean, sorry. Okay. So go there. Yep.
So click on.
Yep.
We click
Right,
here.
and to turn something into a comment, it's. Do you remember which symbol it is?
It's the where you normally play that game with.
Or noughts and crosses.
Yeah, noughts and crosses.
So it's a hash, or as most people seem to know these days, hashtag. It's a hash. Yep. So hash.
Ooh, hash brown.
Yep. Perfect.
And why is it green, Dad?
Because now it's a comment, so it means that when we run it, it'll be ignored. So if you ran this code again, for example, and choose your drop
That's
papers.
fine, we
Oh,
take-
careful! No, because you've typed over there.
Oh.
You've now turned it into a sprint.
Friends.
Right. So make sure you click over to the right.
I love it.
Yep. Perfect. And then press S. Yep. And then hit enter. Cool. So now with the 3's vanished, hasn't it?
Yes, but I have no one against me. Well, I do have someone against me, but they're not showing. It's like they're not showing their hand.
Yeah.
They don't want us to
So we now want to see what we've chosen, don't we?
Yeah,
Sorry. We want to see what the computer's chosen.
Yeah, because like play rock, paper, scissors. Scissors. No, I don't want to show it.
Well, that's currently what's happening.
Oh my.
You look stuck.
Wait, look.
You've got a few people raising their hands there. So.
Yeah, I saw 3 before.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I was trying to warn you.
Ah, okay. Oh, 4 now.
3. Okay.
Right. So what we need to do, as someone else has also pointed out. Right. So we want to now print out what the computer's chosen, don't we?
Yep.
So to do that, we want to do print, don't we?
Yep. Printy.
So remember what we found out last time?
You need to get rid of this space.
Yep.
Get rid of this space. Space-time continuum.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to print out chosen. Sorry, print out computer, don't we?
Yep.
Yep. So just type out print computer.
I haven't typed it.
That's been a little while, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So.
Print.
Yep. And then shall I do it?
No. Hey.
All right. All right. You do the UTA part then.
Uta?
Well, I've done the comp. You do the UTA. Computer.
Computer, you mean?
Yeah. Definitely got to stop you playing Lego World.
World? You mean?
City. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So now if we run the code.
Run.
Yep.
Run.
Yep. So make sure you click over there. And yep. Rock, paper, scissors.
Make sure I don't turn that into
Yep.
Right,
Hit enter.
return.
Perfect. So rock versus scissors.
Now, do we have another problem?
Well, look at the moment now. We've got R versus and on a new line S, haven't we?
Yeah, so we want it to be on the same line as the R versus. So
there's a way we can fix that.
Yep.
So
we don't want the S down there or
No.
whatever it chooses. We don't want it down there.
no, that's right. So if you scroll down a little bit. Okay, so what you can do here,
Trying to get it right.
that one there. So if we go back up to line 7 on our screen, line 7. So we've got player versus, so we want to try and keep everything onto the same line, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
And before, what he did was deleted
Or
that
you,
whole.
let's not confuse people. That's
He,
not
he did something wrong.
yeah, that was called a practice for a reason. So, right, so after the verses, if you then do a comma.
What? Oh, comma.
Yeah.
Comma. Yep.
Yeah, so if you then do space, and then end equals, so END.
Oh yeah, I keep getting confused. I think you mean EN. What? End. It's the
Yeah,
end.
and then an equal sign,
2 or 1?
just 1.
Good.
And then we want a single quote.
Wait.
Well, let's not confuse things.
Aww.
Well, we're doing this thing, remember? Let's not make things complicated. Right, then do a single quote,
Yay!
and then space.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so what that does is it means that when we do the player, so rock versus, what happens is instead of creating a brand new line the next time we print something on screen, we tell it to stay on that line.
What does blue mean on the numbers?
Integer.
Oh yeah,
Right, so if you run that code now, you should hopefully see it all on one line.
hopefully. But if we did something wrong, then there's a bug, and we'll have to debug it with a
Yes.
spray.
Yep.
I was about to type Y.
You can type Y, but Y wouldn't work. So there we are, we've got paper versus scissors on the one line.
I'm lost.
Well,
I keep losing.
you can't win them all. Right, so what we'll do is, because I saw a few people asking for the code, so we can copy and paste the code.
Whoa, Dad, not that much.
People are asking for help, so...
Wait, that much? Whoa.
Well, if we send the whole thing, then if
Wait,
they're
Dad, why
available...
does there have to be a big blob of blue then?
Because we highlighted the whole thing. So there's the code that we've got so far, if people are sort of getting a bit stuck.
Yep.
Although I do see people putting their hands up, so hopefully they're getting unstuck. You've got me to unstick you.
Oh wait, it's stuck in the mud. Dad, can you unstick me, please?
Right. So shall we do the next part? Because at the moment here, we're sort of going to all that trouble of coming up with rock, paper, and scissors, but we don't know who wins. I mean, we know how rock, paper, scissors work, don't we?
But we also, what if you forgot what
Which one beats what one?
Yeah.
Yeah. No? Well, that's the
Yeah.
idea of a good game, that we can get those out.
So basically, we're trying to do it. So like, if I have R versus R,
Yeah.
then it's a draw. But what if you forget that?
Well, yeah. So maybe that's the first thing we can do. Just quickly.
What?
Right, so what we want to do is say that if the computer and the player, or you, get the same thing, it's a draw. Because that's the easiest one to program.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you think we have to do to check that?
Okay. So, what do you mean?
Right, so you want to check that if computer and player choose the same thing, it's a draw.
Okay, so we're gonna have to use that same if right here.
Yep, so
Hello, if.
yeah, so we want to create a new if, don't we?
Yep. So
So maybe put a new line down so it just breaks up a bit. Yep. Perfect.
why did you do 1?
You can do 3 if you want, but
How do I get rid of this one?
backspace. There you go.
So if
Yep.
if player, so if you, the player,
Mm-hmm.
so
So if player, yep.
if player, I thought the so if player, so if player
Yeah.
and the computer, which is 2 equal signs, because that.
Because we're checking the value, aren't we?
Yep. So,
Right. So, yep.
what are you
That's right.
doing?
I'm trying to help people at the same time as you're typing, so
Right.
I'm multitasking.
So if player and computer, that your
Yep.
turn on writing. I'll just write it then.
Okay.
Okay, I'll write it. Now is it you are? Which one again? Oh,
UT,
it's
yeah.
up here. It's up there. Here. So if computer at player and computer chooses the same one,
Yep.
then
So colon. So that's the important thing. Whenever you do an else or an if or an else if, that after you've done your checking
If it?
logic, you put a colon at the end. Or colon, sorry.
wait, what's a
The
colon?
two dots.
Yeah, like if you see on a clock, it's 2 dots in the middle.
Yeah, that's symbol, exactly.
Middle.
Right. We're going to run out of time, I think, to finish this. So
Oh,
we'll still got a bit of time. So
okay. So
okay. So if we then say that's a draw, don't we?
yep. So
Okay. So if we then
shall we
say
do 2 lines or 1?
just one line, because we want to keep it together to say it's the same.
Do we need to get rid of the space? I don't think.
No, you want space because we're still doing this logic. Print T. Say it's a draw.
Print. So we've got to get those brackets out again.
Yep. To get the brackets out.
Finally.
Yep.
Oh,
And
wait,
then
we just did it. So
draw.
so
Or you can say tie or whatever you like to say. This, but we want to say it's a draw effectively.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
we're gonna have to get out those 2 thingies.
yep. Single quote.
Yeah.
Yep. And just say it's a draw.
Say draw.
Wrong way around.
What?
You draw it in doll. Right. So what we'll do is we can also share our code with everyone. So if hopefully,
So they can copy it easily, right?
I believe so.
Link.
Link. Yep. Thank you. Oh. Okay. So this is the code that we've got so far. Hopefully that works. So if you run that code now, this is going to be the hard part though. We need to actually get a draw with a computer.
Ow.
Well, let's just see. We can test it quickly and see if we get Oh, what are the chances? High five.
Wait. What if I just run it again and say scissors?
I just realised I sent that link only to one person. So thank you for sharing that for me. Oh dear.
Only you, Dad. Only.
Well, I meant to share it with everyone, but
Dad. You know how here you are. Anyway.
right. Well, we might be able to finish a little bit more of this code, but I think we are going to run out of time to finish it
Well,
fully.
then you do it. Then you do
Okay.
it now.
All right.
Because I'm slow.
Well, it's not about slow. It's about learning, and that's the important part.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to say now that
That's that.
we've checked that if it's a draw, so we then want to check that in this case that rock beats scissors. So we can do an else if again. So that's you.
Thank you.
So we're going to say if the player has decided on rock and the computer has chosen scissors.
We'll have to. That's
So what happens if you choose rock and the computer chooses scissors?
Well, wait. If I choose rock.
Yeah. So if you choose rock, the computer chooses
So
scissors.
as real life,
Mhm.
if you choose rock and the other person chooses scissors, well, you win.
Right.
So
So in this case, we want to say that player.
wins.
Okay.
But then if that was switched round and scissors, and if you chose scissors and the computer chose rock, then we want to say that computer wins. So how are we meant to do
Well,
that?
should we continue with the scenario we've got at the moment? So if you choose rock
Yeah.
and the computer chooses paper,
Yeah. Then the computer wins.
right? So shall we do that then?
So you lose,
Yeah.
or shall we put computer?
Well, we'll
wins?
say computer wins. So we say else if the player chooses rock and computer chooses
Choose
paper, and I can't spell computer. Oh, and you know what? Bug. I forgot to put the equal sign up there.
We have to put the debugging
Oh,
spray.
double bug. I didn't put double equals in.
We have to spray again.
Yep. So in this case here, so we're saying if the rock, you choose rock, computer chooses paper, computer wins. Yeah.
Why is there a random hand on my head? That look in the video.
Oh, you've managed to get Iron Man's hand on your head.
Yeah.
Cool. So at the moment, because we are literally about to run out of time,
Oh.
I know, it's sad. So now if you run the code, but you choose rock, because that's the only way we're going to test our new code. So, rock versus scissors.
Paper win. Oh, I
Paper
win.
I don't think you're paper.
Rock wins.
Cool.
Do we have a tiny bit of spare time?
We're about to run out of time, to be honest. But if you
Wait.
quickly run it one more time and choose rock again, you might be able to get the other scenario.
Wait, what if I choose paper?
Well, we haven't done the code for paper. We've only done rock. So
Oh,
It only
so
works-
scissors then.
it only works if it's a draw or it's rock, basically.
Wait, so if yeah, so rock.
So rock versus rock. It's a draw.
It's a draw. Okay. Oh, I just want not a bug. I want me to lose. The one time I want myself to
The
lose.
one time you want to lose, yeah. Why can't I ever win? Nope, still.
Oh.
There we go, rock versus paper, computer wins. So we've tested our code, so we know that if you choose a rock, we will get the results of a draw or a win or a loss.
So should we go to?
Well, basically, we've run out of time.
No.
I know, it's a shame. We've sort of
We have a tiny piece
we
left.
have a tiny piece left.
No, we do.
Well-
No, we do.
No, but we haven't got time. Basically, unfortunately, this ends in like the next minute or two.
You can quickly do it because you're a computer person.
Yes, but people need to follow along.
I know, but still do it.
Okay. Well, yeah,
This
so
is the part where we have
I was going to say, basically, we hope we've sort of given you a nice taster into Python, and
quickly do the code.
you're learning a bit of code. Just let me finish. Right,
Go on.
you can continue following on. You know, hopefully we've sort of given you a nice sort of starting on here. And the Raspberry Pi website is pretty good for being able to follow along. Someone's on there says they love Python, so we've obviously got some people there that are liking what they're learning, so it's definitely a win. So yeah, so at the moment,
We're both on a roll here.
Yeah, on a roll. So yeah, so thank you for joining us. We hope you have had fun.
See you in 2 weeks.
We won't be back next Friday because it's bank holiday, but we will be back the Friday after. Of
in 2 weeks.
although I hope I got the dates right, but yeah, the 17th of April. So
Wait, really? Where?
Yes.
See you in 2 weeks.
17th of April. Yeah.
Is that really?
Yes.
Where did you say the date was wrong?
I didn't say that was wrong.
Yes.
Don't confuse people.
We'll be back in the 16th.
But all these are being recorded as well, so you can rewatch up to the point we got to.
Right here? No.
Well, yeah, we'll be up to here.
Oh, but so where I'm saying so.
Yes.
So
So yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to all the people helping, Jordan,
Can
Praveen.
we rewatch the video?
Yes, you can rewatch. What we'll do before we close off is go back to there and share the link.
With everybody this
There's time to everybody, yes. All panel, no, all people. There we go. So that's the link to our code as we've got to.
Can we make sure?
Oh, I think someone beat me to it. Cool.
Cool. Someone beat ya.
So yeah, so hopefully that gives you a nice sense of what.
And there's a challenge at the end.
Yes, there's more things you can do at the end as well.
Mine actually looks like paper with
Yeah.
scissors and what.
Well, if you keep practicing and playing along, you can end up with getting to that sort of stage. And there's also the option to remix it and make it up.
And rock will be a circle thing. Paper will be a flat piece of paper, and then scissor will be like a crocodile mouth. Ow. With an 8, which
Yeah.
looks like scissors.
But yeah, so anyway, hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you all much for joining us.
And my arm disappeared, by the way.
Right, and have a good weekend, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, bye.
Oh, hello.